If you're someone who constantly wakes up feeling tired, no matter how much you sleep, then this video is for you. Sleep is absolutely crucial, but there's so much misinformation out there that could be interfering with your rest. So in this video, we will debunk some of the biggest sleep myths so that you can get the quality of sleep that you deserve. A lot of the ideas in this video are based on Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep, which is an absolutely amazing book, and I can really recommend it to everyone. If you don't want to read the full book, but you still want to get the most important information out of the book, use short form. Short form offers summaries and book guides, as well as audiobook guides and exercises for some of the most popular books out there. So make sure to check them out through my affiliate link. Let's start with one of the most common beliefs, that everyone needs exactly 8 hours of sleep a night. It seems like 8 is really the perfect number, it's that magic number, but the reality is completely different. Some people need more sleep and some people need less sleep. The necessary amount of sleep can really vary from person to person. It is usually between 7 and 9 hours of sleep, but there could also be bigger variations, so maybe you might only need 6 hours, or you might need 10. The amount of sleep that we need can also change throughout our lives, but also depending on our daily activities. I mean, for sure you've noticed that when you're working out, you need to sleep more because your body needs more rest. A way to figure out how many hours of sleep you need is to sleep without setting an alarm clock and seeing after how many hours you wake up naturally. I found that 8 hours is actually the perfect amount of time for me, but I've also found out that that only works when I go to bed at around 10 and wake up at 6. If I go to bed way later, I will also sleep way more than those 8 hours, but I feel way more groggy and grumpy in the morning. The key is really to focus on how you feel when you wake up and also how you feel throughout the day. If your energy levels are somewhat constant throughout the day and they don't dip very low after lunchtime, you are probably getting a good amount of sleep. Do not focus on a random number of hours that you need to sleep in the night, but actually try to figure out what is the perfect amount of sleep for you. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe for more content like this and follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok. Next up is the idea that you can catch up on sleep. Oftentimes we'll go through the week sleeping 5-6 hours every night, maybe even less, thinking that we will just catch up on it on the weekend. That's just fine, right? I mean, there won't be any health consequences. That is actually wrong because inconsistent patterns of sleeping actually mess with our internal sleep clock. It really throws our body off, and as a result, the quality of sleep also decreases. As with so many things, consistency really is key. When you start sleeping at around the same time every day and wake up at around the same time, you actually get way more out of those hours that you're sleeping. You will feel way more energized, your energy levels won't just fall throughout the day, and also it will be way easier to wake up. I've really tried this out and I noticed that when I had a consistent sleep schedule, I would feel so much more rested. But whenever I would fall back into this unhealthy habit of going to bed at random times and waking up at random times, I would feel way more tired, I would drink more caffeine, and oftentimes after lunch I couldn't even function. Let's talk about alcohol. A lot of people think that drinking actually helps you sleep better. There are multiple ways in which alcohol affects your body, and because of some of them, you might feel a little bit sleepy, kind of drowsy, maybe more relaxed, and as a result, you think you will sleep better. But while alcohol might help you to fall asleep faster and go to bed without overthinking and tossing and turning, it doesn't actually improve the quality of your sleep. It actually disrupts the amount of REM sleep that you get, and REM sleep is that part of sleep that actually makes us feel rested. Personally, I have periods of time where I completely give up drinking. Usually it's either because I don't feel like drinking, or for example, before I ran my half marathon, I didn't drink for 6 weeks before that, and I definitely noticed a difference because on weekends I wouldn't wake up feeling tired and I wouldn't wake up with a headache. So while I definitely understand the appeal of alcohol, it is not something we need in order to function. The next one is the idea that naps ruin your sleep and that you should never nap. I really disagree with this one. Even just personally, I love my naps. I love a good power nap. But that is the point. There's a right and wrong way to nap, and short naps 20 to 30 minutes actually boost your productivity, they boost your energy levels. But if you're sleeping for 2 hours in the middle of the day, you probably wake up feeling very groggy, very grumpy, and your productivity will be affected by that. It's also important to time your naps correctly. I would definitely not nap in the afternoon or early evening because that will definitely interfere with your sleep. But a 30-minute lunchtime nap for me is the ultimate energy booster. The next idea is that if you cannot sleep, you're just not trying hard enough, and you should just stay in bed and keep trying. It can happen that we wake up in the middle of the night, and oftentimes our instinct is to just stay in bed and stare at the ceiling, hoping we will fall back asleep. The thing is, if we don't fall back asleep immediately, this can actually have negative impacts because we start to associate our sleeping space, our bed, with negative emotions, with this feeling of trying to go to sleep but not being able to, as a result getting frustrated, and it's all a negative cycle. The solution is to get up, completely leave your bed, and do something calming. Listen to some calming music, read a little bit with dimmed lights, and return to your bed only when you feel ready to sleep and you're actually feeling sleepy. This way, you keep associating your bed with a restful place, and your body is more likely to fall asleep easily. This one is actually really surprising because a lot of people think that more is better when it comes to sleep. And that is actually false. Oversleeping is actually a thing, and squeezing in a few extra hours of sleep is not guaranteed to make you feel more rested. Like we discussed in the beginning, there is a certain amount of time that is perfect for you, and if you sleep an hour or two more, you might wake up feeling way more tired than you would if you slept one less hour. Surprisingly, oversleeping is actually defined as sleeping more than 9 hours consistently. If you're sleeping 9 hours after a party or after you've gotten to bed late, that is fine. But if you consistently sleep more than 9 hours, that is not a good sign and it may be detrimental for your health. So in the long term, it is a good idea to try to get consistent amount of sleep and consistently the same amount of sleep without oversleeping or undersleeping. And finally, let's talk about caffeine. I feel like the health and wellness industry has shifted to see caffeine as a negative thing. It is definitely known that caffeine can interfere with sleep, but that doesn't mean that caffeine is bad all around. It helps us be more alert, it helps us improve sports performance as well as cognitive performance, and if used correctly, it won't impact your sleep. Drinking caffeine in the morning is fine as long as you don't do it after lunchtime. I try to stick with 1 or 2 coffees in the morning, and then if I'm feeling tired and sleepy after lunchtime, I might drink a green tea or a black tea or just grab some water, maybe some sparkling water to get some bubbles. For some reason they make me feel more alert. I don't know. You don't need to completely give up caffeine, but you need to time it correctly. And keep in mind that caffeine has a very long half-life, which means that after about 5 hours, half of the amount of caffeine you consumed is still in your body, and that can add up. Also, caffeine takes about 20 minutes to act, so if you're drinking a coffee and you don't feel the effects immediately, don't just go and grab another coffee. Just wait a second, just have some patience. With all of these tips, you should be equipped to get the best night of sleep. So, good night. Bye bye.